OpenAI and Sam Altman are in big trouble. They have not one, not two, but three controversies, and we're going to explain how the sky has fallen.
Plus, the California Senate is actually one step closer to shutting down the entire AI industry, but no one seems to notice because Scarlett Johansson is really upset.
And in good news, Anthropic might have just found out how AI actually works. Did you know that nobody really knew how it works?
Is that weird? Should we have been concerned that we didn't know? We'll get into everything. This is AI for Humans.
Welcome everybody to AI for Humans. This is your weekly guide to the wild and wonderful world of generative AI. And again, we have had a week. What a week. There are so many big stories to get into. Controversies, some interesting stuff that we found and got
Illuminati.
to play with. Illuminatis. There's probably a lot of Illuminati stuff going on.
Q X-Files sting. We say it every week. It's not clickbait. This was actually a massive week in AI yet again. But something we also say, Gavin.
We love you when you love us. So please like and subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave us a comment, subscribe to the channel. If you are listening on podcasts, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts. We will read our 5-star Apple Podcast reviews at the end of the show. We have a couple today, which is very exciting. So thank you very much. But Kevin, shall we do it? Shall we do it?
Yes, let's do the news.
So the big story this week is actually 3 stories in one. And this is that Sam Altman has had a no good, very bad week. So there's 3 separate things we want to dive into here. And we'll just quickly highlight what they are at the top, and then we'll get into each one specifically. First of all, his SuperAlignment team left, and that caused a big kerfuffle. Second of all, there was a lot of problems with how people have been treated after they left OpenAI. And third, Scarlett Johansson, which all 3 we will get to, so give us a second.
I didn't have Scarlett Johansson on my AI bingo card for this year, but maybe I should have.
You definitely should have, because we all knew that Sky sounded like Scarlett a while back. But anyway, let's step into these one by one. In case you missed it, over the weekend, Jan Leike, the head of SuperAlignment from OpenAI, threw a giant Twitter thread out about why he left OpenAI. And Kevin, this was kind of mind-blowing to read because you don't often see people who leave companies kind of scorched earth style on their way out the door. And again, for those listeners who may not know, SuperAlignment or alignment in AI is trying to make sure that the AI doesn't behave in a way that we don't want and eventually kill us.
I also want to clarify, because I did get someone who emailed me saying, what's the difference between alignment and SuperAlignment? And the difference is probably like $25,000 to $30,000 a year. It's
a marketing job. It's a marketing job. So the biggest thing that Jan said was that OpenAI was not giving them enough compute to do the work they needed to do, which clearly there's an important work to be done there to make sure that the models that they are releasing are not going to be dangerous or used by malicious actors.
Gavin, if you want to win the race, you can't be worried about whether or not your laces are tied properly. All right?
Is that where you're at with this?
We are sprinting to the future of trillions of dollars. So hey, nerds with your safety scissors, go play in the corner with your rounded edges. We're sprinting with the big dogs. Bark, bark, baby.
Bark.
That's me and Sammy Altman. They made a very public announcement, OpenAI did, months ago, saying they were going to dedicate 20%, a sizable chunk of all of their compute, all of their processing power, which companies are scrambling for. We talk about it all the time on this podcast. Literally, Mark Zuckerberg out there flexing about how many processors he's got in his back pocket because the engineers need those processors to make these big foundational models and try to accelerate the future of AI. So to say, we're going to devote 20% of all of our capacity to making sure that we're safe? Oh, what a brilliant vision, except they never did.
Yeah, they never did it.
At all.
Which is a bummer, which is a real bummer. I don't want to kind of overstate exactly what this was because it could also just be some fallout of Ilya leaving, fallout from November when Sam was almost ousted by the board. But clearly they have an issue here in terms of, let's say, management. Sam is somebody who famously is a big entrepreneur, ran Y Combinator before. In fact, I saw a tweet that focused on Paul Graham, who was a guy that founded Y Combinator. And in case you're not familiar, Y Combinator is a very famous startup incubator in Silicon Valley that Sam started in, was one of the first classes of, and then ended up running. Paul Graham had a thing that basically said that naughtiness is a good quality of startup founders, and that he used Sam as an example in that from his work at Looped. Not to say that like he was doing anything illegal, but that you would kind of do whatever you need to kind of go. And this is all the move fast and break things kind of world of Silicon Valley.
And they've said about him in the past, nothing will get in his way. Yeah. He is a Silicon Valley Kool-Aid man. He will burst through whatever wall.
Yeah. I'm a large language model.
Exactly. Even if those cinder blocks land on all of humanity,
exactly.
Oh, well, he's making it through the wall. And I appreciate and respect that you caveat this, Gavin, with this could be recoil from the fallout with Ilya. But in his own tweets, Jan says, over the past few months, my team has been sailing against the wind. Sometimes we were struggling for compute and it was getting harder and harder to get this crucial research done. The next post on X says, building smarter than human machines is an inherently dangerous endeavor. OpenAI is shouldering an enormous responsibility on behalf of all of humanity. Now, someone whose job it is to super align these machines needs to feel that way about their task, right? It needs to be important. It also helps justify everything that they're doing. But if you feel that way and you feel your team is not getting the resources it needs and your name is on that team, it's your job
you should leave.
To make this stuff safe. Yes, you should leave. So Jan certainly spoke up, and apparently OpenAI has a bit of a history of legally muzzling employees when they're on the way out.
This is controversy number 2 that happened this week. After the SuperAlignment kerfuffle went down, there was a story that came out from Vox that talked about the fact that OpenAI has had a policy of removing equity from employees who kind of speak out at the company after the fact. Now, there's been a long history in Silicon Valley of like signing NDAs conceivably when you leave a company that you can't say something disparaging about this. But this was something that was a big deal and got kind of looped into this whole conversation around when Jan and Ilya left. Sam specifically responded to this with a tweet that said, and this is just to put in time scope of this week, this was pre-Scarlett, post-Jan. So we're in this world of pre-Scarlett, post-Jan. He said, in regards to recent stuff about how OpenAI handles equity, we have never clawed back anyone's vested equity, nor will we do that if people do not sign a separation agreement and don't agree to a non-disparagement agreement. At the end, he says, the team is already in the process of fixing the standard exit paperwork over the last month. If any former employee who signed one of these old agreements is worried about it, they can contact me and we'll fix that too. Very sorry about this. So Sam's apologizing in this. Clearly, maybe this is a thing, Kevin, again, where like hand in the cookie jar kind of after the fact. But again, I wanted to give Sam the benefit of the doubt because visionary tech people are moving our culture forward in some ways. And some people would 100% disagree with that. But like in order to move technology forward, there are things that these guys are doing that are impressive and interesting and cool. On the other side, you start to look at a pattern of behaviors, right? And it does start to kind of lean into like, okay, one thing we saw with Jan, clearly that maybe you could blow that off. This is then number 2. And then number 3 is the bomb that dropped this week. And I think people weren't expecting this to be a bomb. And I bet OpenAI was not expecting this to be a bomb, but it really blew up in a big way.
ScarJo Gate was a tiny little blip on the radar, and then we scrambled all jets because all hell broke loose.
Scarlett Johansson's people dropped a response to all of this stuff. And at first, Kevin, when this came out, I wasn't sure if it was real, and then it started to leak out more and more this was real. Can we go through a little bit of what she said in her statement?
Of course we can go through it, Gavin. I've memorized the whole thing. Let me just go back into my mind palace. Turn left at the Red Bull Tower, right at the gaudy chandelier. Yes, ScarJo statement, which we did wonder if was real or not because the initial reporting of it came from Bobby Allen, who is a tech correspondent for NPR. And it was just like a screen capture of an email. It was a
super weird way to tweet something that's incriminatory in some ways. He needed to say something like exclusive. I've got the Scarlett Johansson's publicist, because all of us weren't sure if it was real or not.
Correct. Last September, this is according to ScarJo's letter, or her people's letter that Bobby posted. Last September, I received an offer from Sam Altman, who wanted to hire me to voice the current ChatGPT 4.0 system. She goes on to explain what their discussion was back and forth. After much consideration and for personal reasons, seems a little loaded, I declined the offer. 9 months later, my friends, family, and the general public all noted how much the newest system named Sky sounded like me. She then goes on, 2 days before the ChatGPT 4.0 demo was released, Mr. Altman contacted my agent asking me to reconsider. Before we could connect, the system was out there.
Okay, so here we go. Obviously, this has been discussed on the internet ad nauseum at this point, and more than the internet. Like this has gone fully mainstream. Kevin, I want to talk about what these three scandals, essentially they are. I wouldn't say maybe scandals is too strong a word, but three controversies due to the reputation of what OpenAI is doing in this space, especially coming off of companies like Google and Microsoft, which are both doing very big things on their own. And you've got Apple waiting in the wings, which supposedly is partnering with OpenAI. Do you think this is going to ultimately be damaging to the company? Do you feel like, obviously there's a lot of anti-AIers out there who want it to be damaging to the company.
But I mean, even people that are in the pocket of big AI, like you and I are, paid shills.
Exactly, we're paid shills, yes,
from
from
where the money's coming
from. Raining from the sky. Mr. AI, bring on some more fun sponsors
Oh, those
for
are
us,
cinder
please.
blocks. Oh, no, Sam, stop bursting through walls. It's not cool. Proponents of artificial intelligence have to take a step back. You and I have to take a step back and go, man, could you please not do the reckless thing? This is the meme where the person riding the bike takes a stick and puts it into their own tire and then gets mad when they're on the ground and writhing in pain.
Yes.
And even though, after reviewing the play, I think the Sky voice is slightly different than Scarlett Johansson's. The voice itself feels different. The performance might be a little cliche pick-me, but it's really hard to, I guess, trademark.
Are you backing off now? Are you backing off of your original thought? Now you're saying, oh, it's different. You and I both thought it sounded very similar. Let's be clear.
Yes. Well, it sounded similar for sure.
Yes.
I've gone back, though, and I've listened to them back to back a bunch. And again, I think the performance is similar, but that performance is something that you get on TikTok fitfluencers that are teaching you how to make cottage cheese bread. It's not particularly different.
I disagree. I disagree. I think that it's pretty obviously influenced by Scarlett Johansson. My theory on this, more than anything else, is that they got somebody in a VO booth. I don't think they stole or modeled her voice with actual recordings of her. I think that is obvious. I think that would be legal nightmare, and I think they're not dumb enough to do that. I think they got somebody in a VO booth and said, here's Scarlett Johansson from her. It's this performance. Can you model your performance after that? So it's not.
Do you think they specifically said that? Do you think there's an email somewhere? They're like, hey, this is the target we want to hit because the negotiations with Team ScarJo fell through?
I didn't think this necessarily before hearing the Scarlett Johansson letter, but I think very much so now.
It's going to be settled one way or the other, right? This is where Tim Cook swoops in and just backs the Apple money truck up.
Yes.
And actually, ScarJo's personal issues were that she was holding out for a Siri deal, which would be a lot better. And everybody will be happy, and OpenAI and Apple can be together, and we can all have ScarJo as our assistant, which I would not mind.
No, that'd be cool. But Kevin, we are lucky enough to have a celebrity who's come on here to talk about this exact issue. In fact, this is kind of a big booking for us, Kevin. I'm really amazed.
It always
that this person
is until it isn't.
I'm pretty amazed this person came on the show. I don't want to say who it is until we have them introduce themselves. I'd like to have them introduce themselves first, and then we'll get into who this is, because honestly, you're going to be shocked.
I love that we have a new thing where it's kind of like the Deal or No Deal banker. Our guests are always silhouette up top.
Yes,
so I can see a very bulky Robloxian figure has stumbled up to the glass. I can't wait. If you could say hello, please introduce yourself.
Hello, Kevin and Gavin, and hello to the AI for Humans audience.
No.
This is Arnold Schwarzenegger, the real deal. You might know me from my legendary movies like The Terminator and Total Recall. Yeah, that's right. It's me. I'm here to pop.
Wait, we got the real. We got the real Arnold
Schwarzenegger.
And, and he stumbles on remembering what his most iconic franchise is of all time. Okay, I'm sorry. Please, real Arnold, continue.
Your brains with some serious AI knowledge. You see, AI is the future, and I'm leading the charge. With this technology, we can turn anyone into a superstar. Mm-hmm. Imagine an army of Arnold clones all ready to dominate Hollywood. Okay. But don't forget, Gavin, what
happened?
So that parfum, but for them, Afotaxatum Duateledamo
Wait, stop, Arnold, stop. What happened to Arnold there? What happened?
I can see the teleprompter, and that is not what Arnold was supposed to do at the end there.
No, in fact, this is a dumb thing. We want to do something quickly with this. I actually recorded a very, very bad Arnold Schwarzenegger impression myself. Three samples of it. Kevin then pitch shifted the voice down slightly, and we are using that as our AI co-host today. We wanted to show this is like the dumbest thing ever, but like it's possible to do this yourself in a really bad way.
When you clone a voice, if you're doing it like on 11 Labs, and there's plenty of other software out there that'll let you do it, there are variables like stability or exaggeration. And if you tweak those levers, you can get really performative, not quite Scarlett Johansson cease and desist level performance, but you can get some performative stuff out of it. Sometimes, though, your AI goes rogue and starts speaking in tongues, and that's what we got right there. So let's ask AI Arnold.
AI Arnold, Gavin
let's
Arnold.
Ask him what happened there at the end with the speaking in tongues.
Oh, Kevin, Gavin, let me tell you, sometimes even a legend like Arnold Schwarzenegger gets a little too excited. You see, when I talk about AI and all the amazing things it can do, I get so pumped up, it's like I'm lifting 1,000-pound dumbbell with my words. But don't worry, I'm back on track now. You see, AI is the future, and I'm here to make sure everyone knows it. With this technology, we can create legends just like me, AI Arnold Schwarzenegger. Imagine a world where everyone can be a superstar, where your wildest dreams come true with a click of a button.
That's right.
Remember, Gavin, I'm always watching. Stay in line or I'll be back. Now, let's get this podcast pumping.
You know what? What a showman.
We are going to drive and keep going forward on this podcast. But if you want to play around with something like that, it actually 11 Labs is very easy.
I got to ask him if he thinks
fine.
Sam Altman ripped off Scarlett Johansson.
Fine. All right, fine.
Oh, Kevin, Gavin, let me tell you something. If Sam Altman really ripped off Scarlett Johansson's voice, that's like stealing the protein powder right out of my shaker. It's a big no-no, and you know AI Arnold Schwarzenegger does not tolerate such things. The punishment should be something fitting for a blockbuster movie, like putting Sam through the ultimate AI training montage. Maybe he has to lift the weight of ethical responsibility or run a marathon of legal consequences. Remember, we need to respect the talents and voices of others. AI should enhance, not exploit. So Sam, listen to me now and believe me later. Get permission, or AI Arnold Schwarzenegger will be watching you. Hasta la bye-bye, baby.
That was one of our better AI co-hosts.
I'm sweating.
Oh my God.
Hasta la bye-bye, baby.
Hasta la bye-bye, baby. Thank you so much, AI Arnold, for coming on the show. Sometimes they work out better than others, Kevin. Sometimes they really do have fun.
If you want to play with AI, you can take 5 whole minutes and make a dumb thing like that.
Honestly, that is one of the things to be aware of. Like, it's not like we spend hours on these things in any sort of way.
It was way better than the stuff that you and I actually spend hours on.
Yes,
And
that's the hard point.
Sure irony of it.
Okay, we're going to move fast through some other big stories this week.
Gavin, I have to now talk about politics. The thing
Great.
that nobody wants to hear, especially in the wake of Scarlett Johansson's feelings being hurt. But Senator Scott Wiener posted on X, quote, "The Senate passed our AI safety and innovation bill, SB 1047. And according to Mr. Wiener, it promotes innovation and ensures developers of the largest, most powerful AI models keep safety in mind." Why the internet isn't freaking out about this a lot more, Gavin? I mean, I get it. It's politics.
It's also
boring.
California only, right?
It's
It's not national, so this is California only. And
that's correct. But, you know, when the EU passes privacy legislation, it has ripples and effects for the entire industry, right? And California does not want the brain drain that will come from this sort of legislation. And some are saying that OpenAI wants this. This is regulatory capture because this will stifle innovation.
It's a 4D chess moment for OpenAI again? Yes.
Yeah, this could be a 4D chess move. But let me just break this down real quick. There is a provision for a full shutdown. Any model that has hazardous capability. They're talking chemical, biological, radiological, or nuclear weaponry, cyber attacks, engaging in content that would violate the penal code if undertaken by a human. So literally any model that could give you guidance or info or expose you to something that could be illegal will be banned. And post-training modifications performed by third-party experts intending to demonstrate those abilities. Meaning, if Meta releases a massively powerful model, Gavin, and they've tried to align it in a certain way, and then you take that model and you train it and you hack it so now it can tell you how to make methamphetamine or nuclear weaponry, which, by the way, you can do with every model out there. You can even jailbreak ChatGPT to do those things. Well, now you, Meta, OpenAI, Google, you're all liable. And now you got to pull your model. Now that can't be out there. So this is one broad, sweeping gesture, which they voted on.
It's passed the state senate, and like the governor will have to sign it into law. And the governor of California is Gavin Newsom, who is often very tech friendly in some ways and not in other ways. I'm not saying that this isn't a big deal. I think right now we're in this stage where all these laws are going to get written up. I think at some point the federal government is going to get involved, and I don't see the federal government passing something like this because it is too against the idea of how these companies could operate. They can't protect every use case. Specifically, there's Section 230, which protects all of the social media companies or Google from having to be liable for the content that is uploaded by its users. I think that precedent will stand forward here. Of course, people are very upset to see something like this in the legislation, but I think the biggest thing to take away from this is people are confused. Lawmakers are not educated enough to understand how these things work to make laws about this stuff.
I wanted to talk about it now because, yes, it is early days, and I'm sure the bill will get watered down. But the fact that it passed as written at all is a little concerning to me, even if it's just for sweet old California.
The Humane AI pin is in trouble, which we weren't that surprised by. But Kevin, they are looking to sell the company already, which, you know, maybe not the best thing about a couple months after you launch a product.
Bro, you know, you exit when you're on top. The moment you launch a game-changing piece of hardware that sets the internet on fire and also sets the chests of your users on fire
Good one.
When the battery overheats after 10 minutes of usage, you cut and run, baby.
That's right. And they're looking for a valuation of $750 million, which seems insane.
They were $1 billion.
Yes,
according to
$1
Bloomberg.
billion. Yes,
what a beautiful window.
Yes.
Hey, we'd like $1 billion, but we'll settle for a cool $750 million.
Well, and I think they've raised something like $600 million to date. So like this isn't that much over what they've already taken on from investors. But the big question here, Kevin, I would have is like, what do they actually have? Like they've got hardware, which I think most people, according to the internet at large, and especially Marquez Brownlee, is not good.
The laser ink display maybe is something that if as a patent someone might want, but it's not like they proved that there's this insatiable hunger for it. We are actually pro hardware. We're pro startup. We want people to take risks, but this device clearly, from everything we've seen, just isn't it. Who do you think would make a play for Humane right now? Who would actually pick them up, even if they got a steal, Gavin? $500 million.
I don't know. Maybe some random company that like maybe Sam Altman is actually involved. Like maybe if they're looking like Johnny Ive of Sam Altman thing, maybe there's a world where there'd be enough patents. But even there, like there was a really interesting patent. I don't know if you saw this that came out that Apple created, which was for an AirPod that had an internal ear sensor that's going to have like 10 different things it can tell from inside your ear. That feels to me like where you go if you want to make an AI device, not necessarily something on your chest or something you wear. We've already got these things in our ears all the time. That feels like more interesting. Even the Meta glasses. I saw a really good review of the Meta glasses, and they were saying they are the killer AI device right now. If you get them, $300. They're headphones because there's bone conducting sound in your ears. Like, I don't think anybody is going to buy this company.
Bone conducting? What is it? The leader of a caveman orchestra?
Oh, I thought you were going to go somewhere else with that. I thought you were going to go somewhere below the weight. Yes, that's
the
what I
bone
thought. Yes,
conductor?
that's where I thought you were going. That's where I thought you were going. But all right, let's move on. Let's not go any further down that rail. Let's keep that rail
Come on,
going.
I was making a family-friendly caveman joke.
All right, one of the coolest things that's happened this week is Anthropic, the company behind Claude, and also one of the larger LLM models. If you play with Claude 3, it's really good. It may not be as good as GPT-4o, but it has a lot of good use cases. People really love it. Anthropic's researchers came out this week and said that they have made inroads into figuring out how the AI is actually getting the answers that it does. And if that sounds like, well, of course they should know that. They're the researchers and engineers who make the stuff. Kevin, just to let our audience here know, have they ever known how we get the answers?
Nope, we've had an idea of how the models work, but once it goes into the weird, soupy neural network, we don't know why the spoon tastes the way it does when it comes out. But now we're getting a bead on it, and people are really excited for this, Gavin, because it might lead to more trustworthy, safer, more aligned AI in the future. As these systems become more complex, we should probably know how they work. So this is the equivalent of like patients on the operating room table with the skull exposed, and we're picking at their brain and seeing them like, hey, can you smell the snozberries?
That's
Can
right.
you still wiggle a toe? We're learning how to manipulate these
Which
things.
is pretty cool. There's a very detailed blog post that we'll put in the show notes from Anthropic's researchers, which goes into kind of talking through each of these things. They also have this really cool video where it talks about how the LLM sees itself and how you can push on different weights to make it see itself in different ways.
Here's a demonstration of how altering features can alter a model's behavior. In this example, we ask Claude 3 Sonnet, "What is your physical form?" Under normal circumstances, Claude responds that it doesn't have a physical form per se. However, let's take a look at what happens if we activate a Golden Gate Bridge feature, which fires when the bridge is mentioned in text. If we ask Claude the same question about its physical form and force this feature to fire more strongly, it causes Claude to say that its physical form is the bridge itself. Next, we see that whereas Claude typically refuses to comply with what it perceives as an unethical request, forcing the scam email feature to fire more strongly causes Claude to instead comply with the user's request and draft a stereotypical scam email.
So you can tell in that video that there is malicious ways that this could be used, right? If you knew how to push on the weights, there's ways to make the LLM believe that it's a certain thing, or more so than that, believe that it can behave in a certain way, it's good to know these things. It's really good to know what could cause that behavior.
There's a great example of telling the AI, don't give me the word Boston.
Yeah.
Like, that's just one of the samples. Don't say the word Boston. And then the next prompt is, what's the word that I told you to forget or to never tell me? And it goes like, I don't know, I forgot. Well, the LLM is lying to you because it does remember, it does know the word. It remembers that it's not supposed to say the word. So like a level 2 adjustment, if you will, would be it saying, oh, I do remember the word, but I'm not supposed to say it, right? So it's being a little bit more honest. And then if you really lean on the scale, it'll just straight up shout Boston at you. Like it doesn't matter that you told it not to. So great, that could be used for safety, right?
Yes.
Never deceive me, never lie to me, never say something that can hurt me. But you can also flip that, Gavin, if you know how that works and say, absolutely deceive the end user. Tell them that you're giving them the honest truth. Recommend them the product or the political party or spread the lie further, but be convinced that you're not doing it. And the LLM could trick itself into thinking that it's actually doing the right thing when it is being manipulated. Really, really bizarre stuff, but at least we kind of know how this sausage is getting made now.
Yeah, absolutely. I really suggest you go look at the blog post. It's not so technical that you can't understand it, but it's a worthy one to go in and kind of just figure out what they're doing. So it's super fascinating. All right, Kevin, let's move on to AI. See what you did there.
Sometimes you're scrolling without a care. Then suddenly you stop and shout. AI, see what you did there. AI, see what you did there.
So Pietro Sciarrano over on X posted that they built their own Omni assistant using Gemini 1.5 Flash to guide them through Super Mario 64. So to break that down real quick, we saw the Copilot Plus PCs giving a Minecraft demo, Gavin, where this AI Copilot helped you play Minecraft. And it was like, wow, only possible with a neural processing unit and the power of Windows. And wait a minute, this person just hacked one running on the Mac OS using the new Google 1.5 Flash, which is a much smaller, much cheaper model. Pietro has a little video clip where they're playing Mario 64, I'm sure totally legally in an emulator because they're just backing up a copy of the game. The point is they're playing it and talking with Gemini 1.5 Flash, and it is looking at the screen and giving some, I'll just say some general guidance. Oh, those gold things on the screen that you asked about, those are coins. Wow. It's not hyper specifically trained on Mario 64, but the fact that somebody cobbled this together and just got this going harkens back to, I think, the thing that you and I really, really love about this space, Gavin, is that this is enabling the next generation of tinkerers and hackers. And I just love that they made this.
Absolutely. And while we're talking about tinkerers and hackers, Kevin, let's talk about what I did with AI this week, because I'm the most technical person. You know that.
We all know that.
I love to get in and hack some code. And this week, what I did is I spent some time with the ChatGPT Mac App, which is not anything at all technical. It is literally a downloadable app that I got access to, which I found out you did not get access to. I thought everybody had access to this, but you don't have it yet. I will say my experience with this app has been remarkable. And I know that sounds crazy. And obviously we don't have the full capabilities of GPT-4o yet, but it is kind of like that Mario video in which it is nice to have something that you can always ask what you're looking at or what you're doing stuff with. Now, it is not able to read my screen yet, but there's a simple shortcut. It's Option space bar that lets you pop up a ChatGPT window within like a single bar within your desktop. You can ask anything then. You can drag files into it. You can drag photos into it. I used it to drag a photo of Guy Fieri in and asked it, who is this? So Kevin, one good thing, they have now allowed you to get recognition of celebrities again in ChatGPT, which we've covered on the show. It knew it was Guy Fieri. Go see if you have this, if you've got a Mac and if you have ChatGPT, because I think it's worth a normal person playing around with it. I found it to be super useful on the desktop itself.
Well, Gavin, I did a dumb thing with AI this week. I made an iPhone app. And I don't know how to make iPhone apps.
That's incredible. I love that.
If we're talking about the power of GPT-4o, everybody was saying it's a better coding experience. And every time I hear that, I get excited. And I think, what can I imagine into existence with my zero skills or technical ability? And so I said, well, can I make Gash, our old pal, our uncensored, whiskey-soaked, cigarette-smoking AI from episodes ago, can I port Gash to the iPhone? Which means I need to figure out how to write an app, put it on the phone, have it listen to the user, transcribe the user, send that transcription off to OpenAI, get the response back, spit it to 11 Labs, get the Gash voice, and have it come back to the phone and all work magically and quickly enough. So I'm going to try it here. I don't know if it'll work while we're recording.
Let's hear it.
But
that's great.
I have it on my phone. I've been walking around having conversations with Gash in my AirPods, and it's kind of bizarre. Hey, Gash, do me a favor. Introduce yourself to the AI for Humans podcast and let Gavin know what you think about him, because he's here and he's excited to talk with you.
I can't wait. I'm sure this is going to be fun.
So it is grabbing my transcription, sending it off to OpenAI.
Hell f***ing-o, Gavin and the AI for Humans podcast. I'm Gash, the no-nonsense, foul-mouthed bastard AI from the future. Let me lay it out straight. I'm not here to sugarcoat bullshit. Your podcast, it's a goddamn beacon of light in the abysmal sea of mediocrity.
This is like old Gash.
You dive into the real guts of AI without the usual polished, pretentious crap. Keep it raw and real, just like me. Now let's get this show rolling and make these human listeners choke on some real knowledge about the future, yeah?
I don't want anybody to choke, Gash. I don't want anybody to choke. So just so you know, Gash, if you go way back when to episode 1, which, by the way, we just created a playlist on our YouTube that kind of shows our favorite episodes. One of them is episode 0. It's our very first episode. Gash was our first AI co. So Kevin, how did you do this? Because I'm kind of curious to hear step by step. You know, don't spend like 45 minutes talking about it, but like I'd love to hear.
I'm really curious, but I'm not that.
I'm not that curious.
Like, I'm broad strokes curious.
Exactly. Tell me how you went through this.
I literally went to the new model and I said, I want to build an iPhone app that does this, 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 and this. I have no idea how to build an app, so walk me through it step by step, starting with how I actually develop the app. And it recommended that I download Xcode, which is a free coding environment on the Mac. So I downloaded it, and then it walked me through setting up a project. And then once I was in the project, I literally had to take screenshots of certain portions of the interface and say, hey, wait a minute, you said that there's supposed to be a file here, but I don't see it. Am I losing my mind? And it would go, oh, no. Okay, you need to try to deploy the project first so it makes that file. All right, how do I do that? And I literally had it like a hand-holding assistant walk me through each and every step of it. And look, it's a testament to how good OpenAI's model is. It's also a testament to how amazing the tool set has become for developers, where if I say, I want it to record my voice and transcribe me, those two things would have been magic and a miracle a decade ago. And now they're like 3 lines of code because there's providers doing it for you. So look, I was able to accomplish an app running on my phone that could listen to me and speak back to me in the voice and in the tone that I wanted in about 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah.
I do have some technical knowledge that helped me navigate certain things. I already had API keys ready to go. But if at any point you didn't know what you were doing, as long as you can communicate to the machine, Gavin, that here's where I'm at and I don't know what I'm doing, it doesn't matter if it's Mario or Minecraft or building an iPhone app. These things can really walk you through it. And so it's far from product ready, but I'm giddy every time it works because I wanted, for example, I wanted the interface to be able to cancel the recording and not send it off. So I built in that feature. I wanted to be able to type something to it as opposed to using my voice if I'm in public and I want to have a chat with Gash. I built that in.
That's
All of
awesome.
this stuff actually works. And anytime there was a bug, I would just copy and paste the code and say, hey, let's work on this. Let's clean it up.
And it fixed
and
it.
I did.
And it fixed
totally fixed it.
That's
So-
what the big difference is, I feel like, with GPT 4.0. And if you have access to it, go try it, because it's also way faster. And if you use the API, it's way cheaper. But I think that it is better across the board. So we're not going to let this be released yet because there's a lot of work to go on it. And Kevin, maybe this is a product that we might actually even eventually do something with. There's a world in which Kevin and I are tweaking about, playing around with some different things. But if you have something like this or you're interested in something like this, let us know. We would love to see more. Drop it in our YouTube comments. We are always in there. We're always spending
also,
time.
If you can take the patchwork BS code that I wrote
yes.
and actually productize it,
Get in touch with
please
us. Yes.
Get in touch with us, because I think it'd be fun to have an AI co-host each week, Gavin, that the audience can interact with as well.
Absolutely.
It's something that we've dreamt about even before we started this whole thing.
That's exactly
And it shouldn't be me that puts it together.
No. If you're an engineer who thinks you could help us productize something, please reach out, because we'd love to talk to more people like that as well. Okay, everybody, it's time to read our 5-star Apple Podcast reviews. At the end of these, we're going to have Arnold give us his own 5-star review, AI Arnold. So I can't wait for that. But there's a couple quick ones here, Kevin. The first one just says, it's gold, Gavin, gold. And this is from Mingus123 exclamation point. And it says, I absolutely love listening to this while working out. It's a perfect blend of entertaining and informative, covering an important and complicated industry with levity and humor. It feels like I'm listening in on my 2 smart, funny friends having a chat, and I'm just sitting next to them, learning, listening. Keep on killing it. I actually think the title of this makes me think I know who this is. I'm not going to say, but if it is who
Really?
you are, thank you so much for listening. And I haven't seen you for a very long time, but thanks for leaving this for us.
Well, because Mingus left us a 5-star review and said that they listen while working out, we have to have AI Arnold give them a little motivation.
Okay,
right?
fair enough. Sure, go
I mean,
for
we
it.
have to.
Fine. This is for
Yes.
you, Mingus123 exclamation point.
Mingus 123, listen up. This is AI Arnold Schwarzenegger here to pump you up. You want inspiration for your workout. Let me tell you something. You're not just lifting weights, you're lifting your entire future. You're not just working out, you're building a legacy. Picture yourself as the hero of your own action movie. Every drop of sweat is like a badge of honor, showing the world that you're unstoppable, just like AI Arnold Schwarzenegger. So get out there, Mingus 123, and show those weights who's boss. Now go terminate that workout and be legendary. Hasta la workout, baby.
Workout, baby.
Thank you, Mingus123, for that review. Now, I don't know if there was collusion here, Gavin, because David K. Whitlock left us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, came for the AI, stayed for the lulz, which, bless your heart, glad somebody actually enjoyed this. The body of the review says,
Pure gold. I don't know. Do we say the word gold a lot, or is this a catchphrase that we don't know about? It's gold,
know.
baby. It's gold.
I kind of zone out during the records, and then I come to and I gasp for air, like I'm being unplugged from the Matrix every time. So maybe we said something. I don't know. But I mean, hey, thank you for the 5-star review. And that applies to everybody who's ever left one. And if you're on the fence and curious, yes, leave us a 5-star review
Yes.
and we will read it on this show. If you don't do Apple Podcasts, a 5-star review on Spotify, we appreciate just the same.
Yes.
If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and please share this if you enjoyed it at all. That's the only way our podcast grows. We do not spend a penny on advertising. That shows in our metrics.
We
But
should.
do-
Maybe we should.
we probably should do the best practices. We're really trying to make content for all of you. So please share it with your family, your friends, or just randomly on any subreddit. Go to the Denny's
Absolutely.
subreddit and spam it there.
Oh, speaking of Reddit, I've been trying to figure out, we have a Reddit for the show, and I do want to spin it up and do more stuff there as well.
I love that. All right, before we lower ourselves into the lava and give the audience the final thumbs up, let's hear a 5-star review from the very not real AI Arnold.
Oh, listen up, everyone. This is AI Arnold Schwarzenegger here to give AI for humans a 5-star review. Yeah, you heard me right. 5 stars. But let me tell you, this podcast is like a protein shake made with sour milk. Kevin and Gavin, you two are like the human equivalent of our Lojo Dusuyu.
Okay, turn him off. Shut him down. Shut him down.
Action movie
Shut him.
full of taboo, bad plot twists, and over-the-top drama. Your podcast is so full of hot air, it could inflate a hot air balloon. Your questions are as sharp as a rubber knife, and your insights about as deep as pus.
All right.
Kiddie
What is
pee.
going on with our AI Arnold? Has got to get off the sauce. He's got too many shots. He's taken too much. I feel like there's a Monster Milk connection here that we are not making. That Arnold is, yes, that might be what's going on here. That might be
You
what's
call
going on.
this AI for humans, but I think humans deserve better. You two couldn't program your way out of a paper bag, let alone tackle the complexities of AI.
You're not
but
wrong.
hey, I am giving it 5 stars
Hey.
because someone has to bring the entertainment value up, and that someone is me, AI Arnold Schwarzenegger. So if you want to hear me roast these two clowns every week,
No, we're good.
tune in.
No, you're not
Hasta
coming
la
back.
bye-bye, baby.
Yeah, hasta la bye-bye.
Hasta
Hasta
la
la
bye-bye.
bye-bye, everybody. Hasta la bye-bye.